You voted twice to impeach him, to convict him, right?
And I begged him the first time.
And you regret the first one. Why?
The first one was wrong. We should have never.
So why'd you vote to convict?
Well, the bottom line, I took an oath and saw the evidence. Okay?
So once the evidence came in front of you, you felt like you had no choice but to convict. But you don't think the House should have indicted him?
I told him, censoring. We're playing a political game here. This is a man you're going to throw fire on, and he's going to go faster and higher.
If that impeachment never happens, is the second one successful?
Successful. The second one, properly, it should have been. The second one was one that was justified. You know, that
which would have meant he'd never hold office again.
Right.
And you believe he disqualified himself from the presidency
well,
at that
basically,
time?
there was an insurrection.
Yeah.
Again, that's when he should have been.
And it's on him.
That better angel. Sure. And I think he knows how I feel about that.
Yeah. Why do you think the country forgave him? They elected him a second time. After all of that,
I told the Democrats.
why do you think the country forgave him?
You know how bad you all have to be for them to forgive him and put him back? When you saw that, you know, the insurrection that happened.
So you're saying
if we'd
January 6th happened, that only reinforces how bad the Dem brand is?
Exactly. Well, think about this. Since the last election, 160,000 people has vacated the Democratic Party. Republicans picked up 200,000. The big winner is basically independents. They're driving them away from the party system.
And yet neither party seems to know how to court them.
Well, they're not changing anything. They're not changing their ways because basically, you're going to look at the bottom line. How's our sales today? If the sales are good, the money's coming in. I'm not going to change. You know, I was saying, dance with your bride.
I saw you earlier at a conference where all these different independent groups. You have the Forward Party that is trying, and the Independent Center, and you have some from little stage left, little stage right. But the big issue is money. The big issue is funding these third-party or independent groups. Why do you think it's been so hard to convince some very wealthy people that, hey, the duopoly is broken?
Why do you call it common sense? Because it's common. Common doesn't excite you. You're not excited with everything being the same day in and day out. You're excited when someone does something crazy and someone does something that really basically scares the Jesus out of you, and then you want to fight like hell. Fear and hatred is that's the business model, both of them. If I can say, you got to be scared of Chuck Todd because he's going to be dangerous. I mean, tell you, he wants to do this to you, this to you, and this to you. Now, with that being said, you got to defeat him. You got to do everything you can. Now the hatred starts pouring in, to where we got to do whatever it takes to get rid of you. And I've told people before. I said, I've been in elections all my life. I says, I wanted to beat you. I never wanted to defeat you, because if I defeated you, you wouldn't come back and make me better. If I beat you, you're going to come back and keep challenging me, which is what I want, because I will be on top of my game if you keep challenging me. You give me a free ride, I'm dead. President Trump, what you see on television is not what you see in person. I can tell you that. He's engaging.
Yeah, I know.
He's very engaging.
Yes, he is.
He wants to know, Chuck, what about this? Tell me about this. Give me, you know, you've been there. But now, what you see on television, and people just, enough's enough, I'm wore out.
They got exhausted.
I got, exactly.
Do you think Biden understood why he won?
Oh, I don't think, because when they won 50-50, they thought they had a mandate.
Trump's done the same thing over, I mean, he barely, you know, he didn't even get 50%, and he's behaving with a mandate too. Isn't that the problem?
That is the problem, and the bottom line is that basically the people are acquiescent to this and just basically believing whatever's put out and then following along. I said, and I told the president, I went over to him and I said, Mr. President.
Which president are we talking about?
Joe Biden.
Okay.
For the first 2 years, I was the only Democrat that Trump would talk to. Come over and have lunch, come do this, come do that. We talked, we had a good relationship. And we talked about different things, talked about the border, things that could be done there, and you know, he was big on making Mexico pay, which I didn't think was going to work real well, and I haven't seen him pay anything yet. We talked about that. Another idea he had, and we came up with this, why don't you have Mexico build a border on the 138-mile border in the southern, where they choke down, and we can control the South America coming across, and we'll work with Mexico. And we talked about all these things, some good ideas. And so it was engaging, and I like being, you know, I like working with him. Because, and the only thing I told him one time, I said, next time you call me last. I said, I don't know. He said, what do you mean? Just call me last, because I don't know who you talk to last. But that seems to be what happens.
What you're saying is you wanted to be the last person in the room with Trump. Because you feel like if you're, I mean,
well,
this is the joke.
If
you're the last person in the room, your idea usually has a chance to win.
We had some good conversation. I thought going to happen. What happened? He said, I just didn't materialize, Joe. I said, well, I think it's still a good idea. Let's just, anyway, he's engaging, and people have to understand that. And he's mesmerizing when you get with him. He wants to know. He wants you involved, and he just sucks you in. The only other person I had like that was Bill Clinton.
Right.
That
No,
really-
I think they're very similar.
Yeah, very similar, engaging,
Yeah.
okay, and wanted to know and wanted to make. So with that being said, you want to do things. But ma'am, put him on camera. And the only thing I'm saying, Mr. President, please, there's got to be a better angel in all of us. And I know your better angel is floating around right now. I hope that you let that better angel say, oh, I'm President of the United States. I'm the leader of the free world. I've got to calm this down. This is a great country. I want it to be united, not divided.
Why do you think he can't bring himself to do it?
I don't know. I'm really worried. I'm just praying to God because he's the only one right now that can set
You only
the
have one
stage.
president in time, right?
That's it. And, you know, your commander-in-chief. Well, you got to, you know, I was commander-in-chief of West Virginia being governor. I had horrible mine disasters. I knew what our problems were. I knew I had to fix them, but I knew one thing. I had families grieving. I had communities grieving. It shut down the whole economy. I had to get them through that. So they would call me comforter-in-chief, okay? People need that now. We need a comforter-in-chief. Donald Trump could be one heck of a comforter.
You know, you look at our adult lifetime and these moments, right? Challenger explosion. Reagan was president first, Republican second. Oklahoma City. Bill Clinton could have politicized that, and he didn't. George
9/11.
Bush in 9/11, Barack Obama in Charleston. These were moments where you realize, as president, you've got to be bigger. You got to be bigger than your
magnanimous in
party.
that. You got to come in there and forget about the Republican, forget about Democrats, forget about all of our differences.
But here's a question for you and all of this, which is, there's no support system for that. There's no like button for moderation. Why is
Let's
that?
look at the political system we have right now. You get elected, you're going to Congress, or you go to the Senate, and you're a moderate, centrist. And people say, well, Chuck, I'm with you 1,000%.
Right.
You got the center left and center right, and they all like you, okay? You get there, what are you going to do? You got to pick far left, far right. There's no center. There's no support system in Washington for someone who's rational, practical, and wants to get things done. So what we're trying to do, and this is this whole thing that Heather, my daughter, started with AmericansTogether.com, is basically teach people. You want to know why you're not satisfied with your process? Look where you live. You got a closed primary. Okay? You want to be an independent. 50% of the people in America are independents, like me.
Well, think about the incentive structure. You came from a red state. You were incentivized to make sure you had dialogue with the president. Now, I think that's in your nature.
Yeah.
But you had a political reason that you had to have dialogue with him.
Sure.
Versus Elizabeth Warren doesn't have a political reason. If anything, she'll be punished. Or Muriel Bowser has been trying to work with him,
Well,
and she's been attacked from her left.
Look at Gretchen Whitmer when she was in there.
Right.
You should be proud to be as far as in the most powerful office.
But you are aware of what
Well, I'm aware of that.
the two bases. If you give an inch to the other side, you're aiding and comforting the enemy.
Anymore you are, and I've almost come to the conclusion that you have to have, the only thing that's going to give us any type of reprieve whatsoever, to have people have courage, is term limits. Maybe we get at least one good term. Your last term would be a good term. You'd have the courage to do something. You don't have to worry about getting reelected. Okay, so I had a woman one time tell me that. She says, about 15 years ago, I was a governor. I was down in southern West Virginia, and we were talking. She said, Joe, I wish you were for term limits. And I gave her all the reasons why I wasn't. And I said, you know, you live all your experience, your expertise, your seniority, all the things that it takes for us to move this country forward. She says, well, just think about this, Joe. If we had term limits, maybe we'd get one good term out of you.
Yeah. You know the problem with, who doesn't have term limits? Lobbyists.